This is Sheila with Conscious Conversation Central, and today is Sunday, August the 22nd, 2021. It is not actually a blue moon, but we're calling it a blue moon. It is the second full moon in this month that's in Aquarius, and that makes it extra special. And I think BZ might actually have a little bit more on that. But I'm joined by BZ Rieger and Lisa Flamino Rush, and we're going to play. And I'm going to be real quiet now, and BZ is going to tell us what we're going to do. Yeah, I know. That's always funny when Sheila says she's going to be quiet. I know that's true. So BZ, tell us what we're going to do, because I told everyone, I read exactly what you gave me this morning in my live. And so we do have a few that are playing right now with us. And so tell us, what are we going to do?
Well, I was, thinking about the blue moon and just doing work, and ended up having a whole conversation in a tree bath with my soul about it. And I was nudged and asked if I would take myself and those who wanted to come play on a journey. And the journey, the guidepost that I was given as not a destination, but as a platform and a launching point, and a bit of a corridor through the energies, was to meet the incoming energies, the auspiciousness and the magic of this particular blue moon, the kind that it is, which is different than the normal one that one thinks of. And we could put that in the description later. And also where those things meet the new energies that are starting to call forth when tomorrow clicks forward. So it's a combination of all those, and it's a combination of leaving the old in this pregnant void, which is the full moon. And then as you're riding on that, you're having the lift in your wings from that. So the thermals are carrying you up as you're then moving into the new energies. And there's a buoying effect to that. There's a resiliency effect to that. There is a real undercurrent of being stalwart and righteous in your open-heartedness, full-throated about that, and able to really stand in your magnificence as you move forward. And so your light will be amplified even more in each moment through you, which courses through all of the aspects of yourself and all of your body levels. And then it will be then just a beacon that courses through others, whether you walk in a room or driving your car down someplace, or if you're on a bus, and your stream of energy will go through the route of the bus, whatever it is, and how you do that. So that was pretty much only the thing that I was given, and we'll see where we go from there. I would just say get a pad and paper so that you can take notes, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, I just happen to have a pad and paper, so I mean a pad and pen. Lisa, you ready?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. So let's start by just taking a nice deep breath, getting centered, feet on the ground or on a rock like I have is always good. Grounding into Gaia. And when you're envisioning this now, to start with breathing, I'd like you to think about feeling your breath on your shoulders. So as you breathe in, let your shoulders roll down and back. So your heart is open, your chest is open, your rib cage is opening. And you breathe a little deeper, and you exhale a little further. And now feel the breath through your entire rib cage, your entire back. And as you breathe, feel your whole upper torso and the sinew and the framework of your wings, your eternal wings, your angelic wings, as you let them unfurl as you're going to soar in a few moments. And now feel your heart breathing. Let your mind empty of what's gone before in the day. Any conversations, any attachments, anything that you were anchored to in a way that was mind-centered. Let it all go. Picture in your mind a feather. Continue to breathe. And as you breathe, you'll know that you're getting lighter, filling yourself with more love. That feather will rise a bit in your mind's eye. See the illuminated brilliance of the feather, whatever color it is. It has a sparkling sense to it. And simply breathe. And as you ground deep into Gaia, let the feather go and let it mist away. Grounding into Gaia. Continue to breathe and open your heart wider, touching full Christ consciousness love, and anchor into source energy from above your crown chakra. And continue to breathe. And let your being encompass all of the room that you're sitting in. And continue to breathe. Let your being encompass all around the outside of the dwelling that you're in. And continue to breathe. Look to the night sky and see the essence of the blue moon, the power of the blue moon, the magic of the blue moon. Continue to breathe and feel the stars breathing as they breathe with you. Breathing in and out. In and out. In a wonderful, radiant syncopation with the stars, you breathe as one. And as you continue your grounding into Gaia, you're allowing yourself to lift up and expand, not leaving any place, but becoming all of the place. The ground, the house, the sky, the stars, all. And breathe all of that in. Anchor all of that in. And sit in this void of the full moon for a moment. Gather your strength. Gather your compassion. Gather your generosity. Gather your love absolute. And in your next breaths, you'll start to flow forward. You'll start to encompass all of the new energies. Continue to breathe, continue to see, continue to feel. And we're just going to spend some time while I remind you to breathe and to anchor. And you're going to meet these new energies. You're going to meet these new unfoldings. Expansive, illuminating, revealing, unfurling, releasing, engaging, all-encompassing, wisdom and truth, compassion and gratitude. Continue to breathe. Be the fullness of who you are. Ask to play with what is best for you in this moment, to open your heart, to guide you to be. Continue to breathe. What are the new colors flowing in on the energies that you feel? Or the harmonics that you pick up? Is there knowledge and information and understanding that is coming that will aid you in these next moments? That knowing of just what to do, to be, to say. Continue to breathe. As you're traveling, as you're experiencing, as you're playing, anchor into Gaia. Anchor into Source. Anchor into your high heart and your soul. Come to a stop for a moment in your journey, in your experiencing, and just take a slow 360 turn and take everything in. You're feeling, you're knowing, you're seeing. Put both hands to your heart and continue to breathe. Grounding below, grounding above, grounding within. Tune in to where you are and all that you are, and remember. Continue to breathe. Remember. Slowly open your hands from your heart and hold them in front to receive the gift that's here for you to give to you. Remember. Continue to breathe. Continue to anchor. Anchor below, anchor above, anchor within. And now, as you begin to journey back, gently embrace that which you've been given and bring it to your heart space again with your hands. And slowly allow yourself to come just to your body, just to your vessel, wherever you began. Bringing your energy in, bringing your gratitude in, bringing your love absolute in. Take a nice deep breath. Come fully into yourself where you began here. One more breath and let your eyes open.
What did you get? Say what?
I said, what did you get? And what was the
I had lots of little flashes of things. Nothing I can make any sense out of though, but um, for me that always I at the minute I shut my eyes anymore, I always get color, the swirly, beautiful, different colors. Mostly this time, mostly the green moving to teal and swirling back and forth with the different violet, magenta, and then of course gold and red mixed with all of that. And it had the impression more than a flash, and I didn't want to judge anything, so I just allowed, right? And as it felt like I really was going somewhere, it was as though I got a flash of the southeastern portion of the United States and just its outline, sort of. I could make out the Florida Peninsula. So, but it was just like that. And, it was as though I were somehow above it, high enough where I could see the whole thing, right? And again, it was just a flash, and it wasn't like a map, wasn't like I was actually seeing the thing, it was sort of some sort of representation of, again, it was just a flash, right? And then an outline or a sort of a flash, but not. And I thought, am I really seeing this? I couldn't tell if what I was seeing was, okay, so the first thing I thought when I saw what I saw, it was a head. It was a shape similarly to what folks would think of when you think of an alien, right? In particular, the grays maybe, but it wasn't gray. It was green. It wasn't Gazoo, but and then I thought, wait a minute, am I seeing the wizard? Because it was distinctly, you remember how when Dorothy and the crew first go and they see this great big head and a ball, right? And it's green, and it sort of looks like an alien. So I was like, okay, because at first I didn't make that assumption, but then you know what I mean? I was like, what am I seeing? What am I seeing? Right? What am I seeing? And that was the question I kind of asked myself. And I had the impression of the wizard, so to speak, right? And it was, again, just a flash. But then right as that flash ended, I got what could rightly be called a black hole in the midst of all that color, right? It just black, empty, void. And there was, all the color swirling around it. No fear or anything like that attached to any of that. And I wasn't actually like moving toward it, because that I have had, meditations and actually a dream like that one time where it wasn't actually a black hole but I've shared that before, where myself and another being were not face to face like this, but more back to front, but, embraced in an embrace and moving through space, for lack of a better word, towards that what could rightly be called a black hole, but I didn't see a black hole in it. It was more like just swirling energy that I wasn't the only one. There were loads of beings that were actually in pairs, which was very interesting at that time. So it wasn't anything like that specifically. This is the first time I've seen something very specifically that looks like the closest approximation I would know of a black hole, right? So, but that's really it for me. So, what any of that means, I'd love to hear anybody else's idea, because I really didn't get much of anything about what that could mean. Very interesting, though. I mean, okay. So what did you get?
Well, I did not see any color. And I usually do. There, I saw little flashes of violet here and there. But right away when we started, so it was in the beginning, I was feeling just, very calm, very centered. And right before BZ said to lift off, we're going to go somewhere, I felt like I was floating. I was like, I feel like I'm levitating. And then she said, let's float away. And I thought, okay, let's. So I floated off and I had the sensation of movement, but not like my normal scene. My normal scene is very much like what you kind of described with the swirling colors. And it feels like I'm moving toward a tunnel, in that it feels like things are going, past me on my side, like the colors and whatnot come like this at me. Not today. And I almost felt disoriented by this sensation. It was almost like I could have been upside down. I was sideways. I was literally just floating with I couldn't orient. And I spent a good deal of time trying to orient and see something. And, like I caught myself trying to have a different experience than what I was having. And I caught myself judging what was happening. And I just heard, let it go and notice. Okay, so you don't see anything. What do you feel? And then I was like, oh, okay. And then that's when I was like, well, I feel like I can't tell which way is up. I feel like there are no left, right, front, back. I don't know. It just felt very almost indescribable, yet very familiar at the same time. And it was fluid. It was, you know what I mean? It wasn't like I was just there. It was just, and it was sort of constant motion feeling. And then a couple of times I would see just a pinpoint of light and then it would disappear. Just a pinpoint of light and that would disappear. Just periodically without, I don't know, just there it would be. And I'd go, oh, that's interesting. And then I felt this super calming wave of sort of like, everything's fine, everything's wonderful, everything, like, I don't know, because then by then BZ was saying, what do you see, what colors are coming in? And I had already kind of went through, how come I'm not seeing anything, how come this is all different, and had a freak out moment. And so I was already in the floaty space by that time. And I wasn't seeing anything come in. So what I focused on was, what do I feel coming in? And so I was just feeling like these waves of, like, I need nothing. It was just all, I don't know. It was a feeling of being satisfied, if that makes any sense. Not wanting for anything else. Because like I lost that, oh, but I can't see anything and I need to whatever. And after about 3 flashes of these bright lights, then this one, there was another one, and it was a little bigger in the center, and I saw 2 pieces of light go out of it, right? But then I got excited and was like, oh, trying to grasp at it. What's that? What am I seeing? And I kind of left that floaty. I was like in a grabby space with it, and then it went away. So I don't know if there was something trying to show itself to me, and I jumped out of my just allowing space or what, but nothing happened after that. So as far as lights or seeing anything, so I just let that go of trying to, figure out, because for a few seconds I was trying to noodle on that, and then I was like, no noodling, I'll go back to feeling. And so then I just was, again, I didn't get anything profound or anything like that, but the feelings were profound. The feelings were as though there was nothing for me to bring back. And I know that sounds super weird. And I was like, almost like, I really don't want to say that. I don't want to say, well, I got nothing, because that's kind of what it feels like, because it really wasn't nothing. Oh, maybe it's that silence that's full of everything, right? Like there was much to decode there for me. And what I decided I feel excited about doing now is playing with that state again. I don't know. I think I let myself go in a different way this time, where I wasn't doing so much question asking. Like I didn't allow my brain or my mind or words as much as I normally do. And it was just for a brief second, because then I go back to my, yeah, but I want to see, please show me. And then I caught myself talking again. So like with the flashes of light and stuff. So what that did is entice me to come back and play more in that space where I'm not so in control of what is happening, and surrendering maybe to what wants to happen versus sort of going, I want this to happen and I want this to happen. Because I kind of do that. I like to direct everything, including, my meditations and when I go someplace. And I don't know, I felt like I surrendered a great deal of control this time. And that felt like the most profound thing for me.
Well, you helped bring something forward for me that I forgot to share because it kind of went away. But when you said that you felt disoriented, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, because there was a point where I got really, really dizzy. I mean, like really, it was early on.
Yeah, I started a swirl, like a little clockwise swirl. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it was more too than you normally. Oh, this is interesting now that you say that. Normally I would notice a swirl, or notice a thing, where this felt more like I was the swirl. Versus like bearing witness to it. And so it was like an inside out maybe view. And so it wasn't what I anticipated seeing, I guess. And it kind of did throw me off, but I decided to dive into that, and roll with it. And I'm really glad I did, because like I said, this is a fun place to play now, a new thing for me to see what happens in this full-on surrender, where I don't bring words to the table, because I felt inspired to spend more time here to do this some more. So thank you.
It's interesting that when you guys were talking, there were a lot of things that you remarked on the swirling, although I would describe it as, the first thing I want to say is it was very interesting because I had a sensation of being fully in the doing and the playing, and my linear brain, or the orienting type part of the brain, was like it was locked on script to, not that there was a script, the script was being fed as I said it, but on doing that part, which was very helpful, because then the brain, the mind, was engaged on that instead of the stuff that you talked about, Lisa, but well, what about that? Or what about that? So it was fully occupied, which was really, I have to say, magnificent, because it would shut up and I could, yeah, you're over here, pay attention. This is what you're doing, right? So that was very interesting. If I can, I'll just share a little bit what I was feeling. So it was a lovely, it was a lovely experience of multi-locational consciousness, in a sense, because I was speaking and guiding and holding that space, that thread, and then completely being me, going off and listening to this voice and wherever it came with that, and then observing me doing both of those things. So when so I'm just going to give you what my feelings were of me doing instead of.
Right.
So it was at first the sensation of very, very dark, very soothing, very dark. And if I was going to, it was black, but I could tell all the colors were there. I just couldn't pick them all out. And then it seemed to change, and in the change, the color came to maybe a very dark black charcoal to a midnight blue. And what I realized when I went to just trying to see, but to see all of it with my whole sensory array. So for me, that's a stop reaching for something, you know, like I usually will lean forward or something. So I set that back, and then I was picking up the colors, picking up the nuances there, but picking them up from all of me. So feeling them, I guess would be one way to describe it, and hearing them. But in that very first part, it was a sense of having to let go. So I guess disorientation was a word that both of you guys use. I would say it was this wavy sense that happened where the solidity of me was shifting, and I was actually becoming all of what I was seeing. So there was me leaning forward, and then I sat back, and I was the colors. And then there was a definite rising up, and again, not a lot of definition within the colors, but I could feel if I use the word seeing, so with my sensory array, all the beings that were there. And there was a sense of my soul, my I am, coming right behind me and standing at my back and melding. And I could feel that was happening with the two dogs who were also with me. So Keegan's soul was doing that with him, and Xander's with him. And then as I raised up, so above my own locality, and then on the planet, and then when I got to the stars breathing, still not a lot of definition or differentiation, right? Or like, you know, but it was a midnight blue, and I could hear all the stars breathing, and I could hear all these wonderful whispers. And as I looked around, which is an odd way to describe it because I was all of it at the same time. But there were, I don't know, millions of beings that they seemed to be a pair, like the three of us were, like the three here were, where the soul was right behind there. You could see a little bit of differentiation between the two beings. So I wrote down here when the stars are breathing that the music and the soft voices, the whispers, and it was such a feeling of encouragement, of the smiles were audible is the word that comes to mind. And the other thing was that it was, again, that sense somewhere in there, the note that I wrote down was an amorphous feeling where I was becoming everything, but yet I could see enough, you know, it's not like this picture of me where you can see the screen, the door behind me, and, you know, the stuff on the cat, you know, over there, that kind of stuff. But you could feel that. I could feel the different things, so I could see them, but not with just my linear eyes. But it was this flow of all of these beings seemed to be moving, a combination of moving through space and time, and in moving through the flow, I think would be the best way I could describe it. And there was a very interesting juxtaposition of incredible, I could feel it right now. So I'm feeling very, very floaty, completely tuned in and completely chill, like just, Zen.
Yeah, I felt that way too.
But it was a combination of that and palpable excitement. My heart was beating in an easy way, but in such a brimming over way. So kind of like if you feel great gratitude, or if you have the sense of welling up. So it was utter calm and completely connected. So what was the word? All encompassing, everything there. I was all of it, and all of it was me. Yet I could feel just, the twosome flying, right? And so the combination between that, this is the thing that stood out to me the most, and was, I guess, my gift that bring back, was a combination of the complete connection and calmness or floatiness or just immersion in gentle joy, and I can feel it now. It's the beat of excitement, the beat of fruition, unfurling are the two words that come to mind. As all of us, whatever it was, which is a very large group, was moving in the flow. And as we were moving in the flow, the colors got lighter, the definition grew. And then, the other part of me said, okay, now come back to your chair. And so it was actually a very interesting thing. Not like something that I've done before.
Well, I try as I might, as I'm sitting here, I was trying to recall what it is exactly you said during your explanation just now of what you experienced that triggered a memory of what I experienced that I didn't share. Because I thought at the time this happened, it was kind of weird. And I don't know why it didn't come out when I first talked about it, but I recall specifically that my vision, for lack of a better word, as I was trying to see something, and I'm not even clear really what it was I was, because I wasn't trying to see anything. But I don't know, for some reason, I'm not recalling exactly what part of my experience this happened. But something you were speaking on triggered this memory of it happening. It was as though, I know this is going to sound weird, my left eye, I don't know why, never my right side, but my left eye in particular was blurry. It was like it was, and then it was almost as though it was trying to focus in, because it became a little clearer at once. I didn't actually get to see, it wasn't clear enough to see whatever, because there were some color and there was, things, but then it went back blurry again, and that flashed away. So again, I don't know what I was trying to recall exactly what you were saying when that popped back in about that. And what it means, why, or anything, I don't know. But when I asked myself that question, as I was sitting here, what was that? Or what, whatever, it's just all I get was not time.
Not time.
So, I mean, but again, it's just an odd noticing for me that again, it was just the left. There's so much that only happens on my left side. I don't get that, especially when it comes to my eyes. But also, yeah, okay. So just now I was flashed that, my Bell's palsy was on the right. And it is the right side that still occasionally tears and, that sort of thing. Not that it, I don't know. That's why I said, and I was really curious as to what it was that you were saying that caused me to actually remember that. And I can't focus in on that either. So again, I guess maybe it's not time for that either.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons that doing stuff like this, two things that they're actually it's as if I was looking at a transcript of what you were just saying. And so the words and the parts of that they talked about are illuminating for me. So they're this gorgeous iridescent kind of a combination of jade with some blue in it, and they're pulsing the words. And that is that trust, when one trusts themselves. So this exercise of, well, I didn't really get anything, or I saw this, I don't know what it means, or whatever. And in sharing, having the confidence or the courage or whatever you would term it as to come forward and say that, number one. And then as you listen what everybody else is, and there's a trusting. And because I felt it click on a few things with me as well, that I didn't give voice to, that have come again, say, remember, and I'll speak about those in a minute, but that this seemed to be part of the ride, part of the attraction that we were seeing was trust, was something about a trust magic carpet. I haven't downloaded all of it, but that is there because, and that would make sense if you're thinking, well, we're going to go someplace and there's an experience or perhaps an anticipation or expectation or an attachment to, and it's dark, right? All three of us had it, right?
No.
Okay, right. So anyway, so trust was trust in your knowing, and trust full stop, and then trust in your knowing. And the other part that came through very clearly was that the connection with all of us, and the interconnection in unfolding this is very strong in tonight's play, but actually will come forward in what's decoded by each who are willing to come forward and share the play, because it's just play. That will reveal a lot for each who does that, and then each who are part of the encompassing of that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
if you're speaking it, if you feel moved to give voice to it,
Mm-hmm.
and you encounter that will click in things for yourself. Okay, that's very interesting. So whether you were in the play, at the moment or thereafter, however it is, or this is just something you've come upon kind of on its own.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
it was fun and interesting nonetheless. I found myself trying to catching myself really rather, especially with the dizzy part, because, there was a part of me, and I suspect it was Smarmy, who stood up and said, yeah, you get dizzy when you breathe deep. So I'm like, okay, well, shut up and sit down. So, okay. Yeah, what of it? I don't know, just so, I don't necessarily get dizzy every time I breathe deep. So I'm not sure I'm trusting that answer. You know what I mean? Because I've been doing a lot of meditation, and I've been breathing deep a lot, and I don't get dizzy every time. Thank you. So that didn't make any sense
Well,
to me.
was it, and one thing to perhaps to play with, just since you brought that forward,
Mhm.
was it in fact a sense of being dizzy? Like if someone may say, well, I'm, nervous, and then they feel into it more, they realize, oh no, that's a different thing. So was it in fact dizzy, or more on the disorientation side, simply because you're not in control, or simply because you don't, KNOW, not knowing, but know, this is over here and this there, you're not in control.
When I felt it, when it first happened, I get this exact same kind of feeling a lot when I do the intuitive reading hangout sessions, and I'm feeling into someone's field who is in the midst of a lot of what I call they're I don't know, they're either getting something, they're about to get something, either DNA upgrades, some kind of something is going to happen for them, and their field is moving around a lot.
Okay, so perfect. Let me stop you right there for a moment. So how would you describe the world, the collective right now? What are they right on the verge of?
Well, the other thing that I noticed, see, I will say to you that what I made sense of it for myself is that, because this is just my explanation, could be absolutely nothing. This is the way it felt to me. And I allowed myself to participate. So I do feel, as I saw something receding, I feel that dizziness had to do with my popping out of this 3D vessel right here, because I know that black hole thing I saw, or I won't say I know, but I feel as though that is part of my toroidal field. And there was a definite going of somewhere. And so that dizziness I associate with, I've never really known if I'm astral traveling or leaving my body, or, there's no visual on that you can, stand outside yourself and watch that take place, or at least I haven't done it yet. I have had that one experience where I was the observer, as well as, other things. It was the three beings that I was at the one time, where I was witnessing myself as that gigantic creature moving through space, destroying not just planets, but galaxies. And so I thought to myself, well, again, this is probably just my mind trying to make sense of what I was experiencing, or was it? But I just say, it feels to me like that had to do with, I don't know, the physical mind part of me that was going with me, apparently. And, it was a little dizzy from the ride. That's a part of what I feel like it could have been anyway.
Mhm.
I mean, it wasn't sustained, you know what I mean? It wasn't a long-term thing. I mean, it was even so quick that I forgot all about it till, Lisa talked about her disorientation. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I wouldn't describe it what I had as disorientation, because it felt like I said, very similar to when I feel into someone's field. And what I've come to feel about that, again, doesn't mean I'm right, but what I've come to feel about that is that it's something that they in their field are either preparing to intake, preparing to release. The field is in a lot of flux. And so I'm pretty sure my field is in a lot of flux. And as I was, because I'm integrating some huge things right now, just from today on its own, I've had a couple of really big things that I'm processing and working through. So my own field is in flux. So I'm pretty sure that's what it was for me. But again, I don't know. I'm just trusting that that's what it is. And that feels good to me, to trust that that's what it is. So that's what I'm going with. Right, wrong, or otherwise.
Well, yeah, anytime we can connect with that feeling of trust in that moment for us leads us down the path to more trust and more things that can reveal themselves.
Right. And I'll tell you why I've decided right, wrong, or otherwise, I'm going to trust it. Because if it's wrong, eventually I'll be shown.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't qualify things as wrong the way I used to. You know what I mean? Because things are in flux, because things are in flow, and I don't know everything. And I know I don't know everything. And I'm not going to make an assumption that because I think it's this way, that is the way it is. And I'm comfortable with that. I don't have to. I used to have to know things and know it right, and I don't have to have that anymore. I'm just trusting first of all, I'm trusting my soul, that because so far in my experience, I've had a lot of crap. If you add the whole thing, it's a miracle I'm still sitting in the chair. So I think I can trust what's been going on here for me. Even when I wasn't trusting, apparently I was being cared for in a manner that has kept me here. So now I'm going to trust, even though I don't get it all the time, and it doesn't make any kind of sense a lot of times to me. But that's okay, because I'm not at the point, the expansion point yet. And I'm saying yet because I'll get there. I know I will. That I would either grok it the proper way or whatever. So I'm okay with that. And that's why I don't mind sharing some of the weird crap that I share, because, that's all I got at the moment. But I'm okay with that being all I got at the moment, because I know that if it's important enough that I fully grok what it is at the moment that I need to fully grok what it is, I will. And I think that might also be what that focusing thing, I don't know, because I did kind of catch myself trying to force it to focus, right? And because it did for a second, and then it went blurry again. So
I just saw a picture of Smarmy taking, a spectacle where the thing is like an opera glasses, and he's like, "This thing's broken, man. You don't know what you're doing."
Well,
I'm sorry, but it was pretty funny.
Yes. Well,
she was like, "No, it's good. It's good. Keep going."
He's a mischievous scamp, that Smarm, I'm telling you. Yeah, but again, one of the things that I did immediately feel was, like I said, it's not time. Like I said, there's a lot of I got a big mouth. Everybody's going to know it. The minute I know it, everybody else is going to know it. So apparently it's not something I'm either allowed to know myself yet, for various and sundry reasons. Maybe it's something that at this expansion level would just, you talk a lot about folks that are just going to shatter. Well, maybe that's, not for me yet. So I'm just going to trust that that's cool. I'm all right with it.
There's one other part coming in. So I just want to see, Lisa, is there something that you want to add that's come up for you before we do this last little piece?
No, not really.
Okay.
Thank you.
So just want to take I've been asked if we would take a moment and just to if you want to go somewhere, that's fine, but that's not the intention. So just close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, And drop out of your head into your heart and step into the silence. And breathe the silence. And feel it. And trust it. And hear the exquisite, so many words are coming, message and notes and symphony of the silence. And take a nice deep breath. And then come back.
Interesting.
Why?
Because the moment I closed my eyes this time,
Mhm.
I saw just a round, no facial features, just a round, I'm going to say head. Only reason I'm going to say head is because it was as though I were seeing hair, and it was just kind of on top of the head. Like, and that was it. Again, I don't know why. I get the weirdest stuff, man. And it wasn't very long, but it was immediate. I mean, immediate. As soon as I closed my eyes.
I had an immediate visual too, and I don't even know how to describe it. It was kind of, so I had the black screen, just darkness. But they were like, there was one at the bottom, there was one at the top, and I feel like there was only one on one side because I don't recall this side having, so it didn't make a square or anything. And it wasn't, it looked like, I guess I would say tree branches, so it was a stick, but like a stick, but it wasn't straight. It was like, organic in its structure, and it had like almost fork or branches, like little barbs maybe, but more like a twig, how a twig has bifurcations and whatnot. And they were a purple, but lighter, like a lavenderish, but about as dark of a lavender as you could go before it's not lavender. And they were there, and it was like an imprint of some kind, and it just faded the longer I sat there, and I just observed them, and then I just watched them just like fade away, and then I didn't get any more visuals, but that calm was back. I didn't try to talk about anything, or I had no agenda. It almost feels like a nap. I really enjoy it. I like quiet. I'm kind of a quiet gal. So yeah.
You brought something for me too. I actually didn't see, it wasn't complete darkness for me. It still was the red mixed, this time it was red mixed with gold. It's that reddish gold that I sometimes get. And for why, I don't know, but it seems more gold down to the, like the bottom portion of my inner vision. Like it's a graduated thing.
Sure. Yes.
So, and you know what, that the head and the hair actually put me in mind of almost like a stick figure with hair, but there was no, just a, well, we saw that today on Loki, right? Where he gives the little kid the thing and it's a little stick figure that's animated, only there was no stick figure. It was just the circle, right? With the hair thing. But it was encompassed in that reddish gold.
Mm.
So BZ.
Well, I just had to mute because apparently the silence for these two was so delicious. They just, as soon as we came back, they were laying down. As soon as we came back, they both leapt up and hugged each other, and then have been playing ever since in this. And they were snoring before, so it's very interesting. I don't know what that's all about.
We went to sleep and woke them up.
Miss Joy, for me, it was delicious. That feeling of, again, being in the palm of God's hand, being in this embrace of, it was complete and they're fired up, complete and total silence. And as I was in the silence for a minute, then the silence grew, it revealed what was in it. So I want to say it had more nuance. There were, instead of just, total silence, as I just felt with it and relaxed with it, and as Lisa, I think, said, or felt like she was saying, just floated with it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a melody to it, but not a melody because it was silence that I could hear audibly, but I could feel, as if I could feel, the notes playing, I could feel it with all of my being. I could feel it on my skin. I could feel it as a register of colors, but not from the eyes. I don't know. It's hard to, I understand what it means, but I don't know how to describe it in a way. And if that's an interesting way. So if I was totally blind and I let go of needing to see something, and then instead just let all of me radiate the picture back to me, like a dolphin with sonic. So the silence, what's that?
Echolocation.
Yeah. So the silence was all encompassing and had a palpable feeling of, and I could use different words to describe that, but a lot of what Lisa's talked about already. Very calming, but again, that it's not the right word, but anticipation, that excitement, but in such a laid back way, but different than that. Anyway, so for me, all of the silence revealed itself that there was actually this beautiful song and composition from a music standpoint. And
it's interesting to me that you're using the word song for one thing, but please continue.
And composition. And there's one other phrase that came, I'm trying to pull back the, well, it was a conversation. It was a story. It was telling me, no, it wasn't telling me, it was, so I was the story and I was listening to the story. And it was, the silence was, when we think of, from a linear aspect, we've talked about this before, when I think of silence, if you have a lot of noise going on and you hit the mute button, it's silence. Except that when you're totally with the silence and you're not thinking, well, I can't hear anything, so, right? But you are encompassed by the silence, you feel the silence comes alive. And what it brings you in the audibleness of your entire, as I would describe it, sensory array, or your entire being, is this majestic song, this majestic composition, this majestic conversation. And wow, words just beat it down. But
well, see, I didn't mention it, but see, since you're speaking on the silence, I did notice that, well, there's not silence. There was no silence for me. Okay. And what I mean by that is the constant, because it's here still, the very high pitched, and it's not just one. I spoke on it again this morning. It's a cacophony, actually. And the best way I can describe it is if you had the highest pitched frequency crickets you could find that are singing the highest pitched crickety sounds they could do, but they were all different because, like I said, I can pick out at least maybe 6 different tones, maybe even more if I really sat and focused on it. And that is always there. I have experienced it going away suddenly and being kind of, I mean, it has been a time or two where I realize like it's gone. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, where's that been? It's not there. And then, a day or two later, it's generally it does not a day or two later. Generally it'll be either the next day or even it has been just a few hours later. It's back, right? And so it's not, I don't know why I didn't offer that before, but it's not what my terminology of what silence would be. Like you said, hit the mute button and nothing.
I was saying most people think that.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Right. I know. But that's what I was saying. So for me, stepping into that was no different than me sitting here, actually, as far as that's concerned, is from what I'm hearing. Right.
Right. For me, the silence was silencing my thoughts, because I could hear a lot of things going on here in the house. I mean, I can hear,
Right.
but the silence was, there was no thinking, there was no planning, there was no, I mean, I was trying to observe. So, I mean, I was using my mind, but there were no words. Let me put it that way. I was really trying to just be the silence, if you will.
Okay. I get that. Yeah. That makes sense. Cause
That's how I
it
know.
is what I was trying to do.
Well, it's interesting because Sheila, the word I kept coming up to say it, and I never let it come out of my mouth, was cacophony.
Oh,
3 or 4 times, and I thought that was interesting. I said, "Well, it's a C." I seem to be having a lot of C words, but the reason that I kind of marked that is it's interesting. What I heard myself say was, so that it's a noise. You could say it as a noise, a sound, right, that you hear. But
right.
it seems to me that it has a quality to it that is, and it seems the way you described it and picking the read, feeling read off of it as you were describing it, it had a different feel to it this time, or a more cacophonous, right? A more, there was more in the sound. I don't know how to describe it correctly, but if something is maybe there's a way you could say, well, if you hear silence and it's silent, and then you start to feel it and hear all of it in with all of your sensory array, you can feel all the differentness. So the mind goes quiet, right? And you're actually tuning in. A very good example is if the power goes out, you don't have to be looking at a clock, you know, for a moment, because that constant hum that's always there is silent. But you don't know the rest of the time. You wouldn't ever realize that there's a constant hum because it's under there, right? So what I'm asking is your sounds that are always there, if you thought of them as the silence, is there more that they're revealing to you? Or that they reveal to you today because you use the word cacophony?
No, it's always felt like a cacophony. And I've used that word to describe it before because it just feels like that to me. And that's now I have suspected that I know what this is. I don't know for a fact, but I suspect that it's a last step of my surrender. And as soon as I allow it, I'll understand it and things are going to be completely different. And I kind of get that because also it's not the same as this. It seems kind of similar, and again, it's just a noticing, but not always, but sometimes, like it happened again last night, like right now, the majority of the sound, for lack of a better word, because I know it's not sound, otherwise you guys would hear it too. The majority of the sound, it feels like it's on this side, right? Not, like if I was dividing my head right down the middle, it's on the left side, right? Right now, I have heard it like in the middle before. And what's so interesting is what I get on my right side, and not very often, not all the time, but it's this clicking. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but it's sort of like, and I've done it before where I'm doing my nails. I don't have nails right now, but it's a very mechanical, actually, even type sound. And it's not really very prevalent, but it's like a little clicking in there sometimes. And I have no idea what that is or what that's about or anything else either. And I just
Morse code.
Listen, I've wondered a time or two if that's what it is, but it's not.
Or the non-local version of Morse code.
I've wondered that too. So, I mean, and I know that when it's time or when I'm ready or whatever, that all of that will be revealed. I'm just sharing that. It's just interesting to note that over the last few days, even, like I was standing in the kitchen yesterday, getting ready to, for this barbecue thing, right before I had a reading with a viewer, and I was in the kitchen, and all of a sudden, it was like a pickup of the frequency in such a way that it sort of deafened me for a minute in this ear. The sound felt, again, sort of in the middle this time, not on the left, but this ear became absolutely deaf for a minute. It was like, and it was like a pressure almost in my head a little bit. It was a very surprising thing. And this happens, it has happened more than just once. It's happened a lot of times when I'll go, oh, okay, well, that's something new, when it's really not new because I've had it before. But, it's like a higher frequency, or it's another add-on to the cacophony or whatever. And I know. There's something that keeps coming. I have a feeling I know what it is. I'm supposed to channel, and I think that's what this is. And I don't think I'm ready for that yet. Because I think because I was just shown a friend of mine and what she does. So I know that or I don't know, but I feel like this is partly what it's supposed to do. And I've cut that off more than once, and I know I have, and I promised I wouldn't, and I'm not trying to cut it off. I don't think. Obviously, there must be some part of me that is. But I mean, for crap's sake, if each one of this cacophony is a being trying to reach me, oh, for God's sake, it's a freaking party line up here. I don't know what to do with then, if that's the case. So I really don't know. But I'm okay with it. I know that, at some point I'll either relax and surrender and let it all go, or perhaps I'll just shatter. Those are the cases. I'm all right with whatever I decide. So I don't know, but I thought I'd share that because that's what came. So
Cool.
Yep. I don't know why, but I just thought, I hope I'm not in a conversation at that point. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, again, that's trusting and have boundaries from your trust and what you want to do from your heart space instead of being afraid and then shutting it all down, right?
Yeah, see, there's a part of me that doesn't feel afraid, though. That's why I said I don't really. Again, unless it's just not time, you know what I mean? I don't know, because it's like I'm open to it. Or at least I think I am on some level. I don't know. It'll all work out. I'm not going to fret over it. In times past, I might have, but I'm not going to anymore. So if it's meant to happen, it'll happen, and I'll be okay with it when it does.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I have to play with today.
Wonderful.
Well, all right. Well, Lisa, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, just thank you. I think this is important, what we're doing here, that we keep playing with. And for me, I feel like I have much better results when I practice. And so sometimes I don't do it often enough, whatever it is I'm working on. And the more that I do it, the better, the more proficient I become. And I like working in a group in this way too, because first of all, I'm learning so much just from hearing about your experiences. Like that is also expanding me. So I really appreciate what we got going on here. I'd like to see more of this kind of thing. Yeah. So,
well, we all know I'm open to that. So, hey. All right.
yeah.
Yes. Thank you, BZ, for bringing this to us again. I love that you did that. And so I guess we'll end it here. And I'll say that, if you have not already subscribed, no, wait a minute. First of all, let's back that up a second. Because I did make this announcement, if you are watching this, I'm hoping that everyone will go ahead and email me ahead of time. But hey, even if they don't, that's cool. I would love to have your experiences with this. If you didn't get the message ahead of time, but you did play with us, share what you got, Conscious Conversation Central at gmail.com. You can always also email bzrieger@gmail.com. You can also, reach out to Lisa. That's okay, right, Lisa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And yours is Liz Rush 2000, right? Or which one do you want? I don't know which one I've got in there.
No, we were going with Heart Song Musings.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah.
at gmail.com. That's
Yeah,
right.
'cause
Heart Song Musings.
I don't use the Yahoo one very much.
I gotcha. Okay. So Heart Song Musings at gmail.com. All of those will be in the show more section of this video. And if you're watching this on Conscious Conversation Central, go over and subscribe to BZ Rieger. And if you're watching it at BZ Rieger, come over to Conscious Conversation Central and subscribe. Make sure to hit the notification bell, double click it in both places. Hopefully YouTube will notify you. I cannot guarantee that because I keep getting reports that folks are not being notified. And I guess that's it.
And if
Till
you want
next-
to come, if you want to come play for, sharing what your things.
Yes, thank you.
And I'll pull out I'll put this up, and then I'll put just the journey on, and then people can listen to the journey if they want to.
Right. Yeah, I love that.
Nice.
Yes, thank you for that. I forgot all about that. If you wanted to come and have a conversation with us, very much like what we did with our last one for the Lionsgate. I mean, we ended up having, what was it, a total of 4, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The original, and then at least 3 other conversations that stem from it. So I would love it. Not just for this, actually. Anyone that wants to come and have a conscious conversation, reach out, man. That's what this is all about. So thanks, ladies, so very much. Till next time, choose joy.